So we are back here again. Applying for a scholarship can be very tedious, and sometimes it can be very elaborate that you don't even know where to begin from. Since it is a journey that I have been through, I know how rigorous it can be. I took it upon myself to actually help you prepare for this journey. Right now, as I'm switching this video, so many scholarships are currently open, and if you don't know where to start, this is actually where to begin from, because in this video I'm going to list out 10 things that you need to prepare for when applying for a scholarship. So the first and most important thing you need to prepare for when you're applying for a scholarship is a proof that you cannot sponsor yourself. So apparently that's a mistake lots of people make. They like to show off to the scholarship body, especially when they're applying for admission, that they can sponsor themselves. And when you want to apply for a scholarship, they tend to contradict themselves that they can actually not sponsor themselves. So your statement of purpose showed that you said you will sponsor yourself, but now you're applying for a scholarship. What happened? So there is no connecting story. You cannot connect the story that they cannot actually sponsor themselves. So you have to actually prove to your sponsor, to your scholarship body, that you cannot sponsor yourself. For example, there is I won the Commonwealth Shade Scholarship. So there's a part of the scholarship called personal statement that actually asks you to prove how you were actually able to go to university, and regardless of the hurdles, why should they sponsor you? So if you cannot prove that you cannot sponsor yourself, that is already a no-no on their part. I actually brought a list because I don't want to miss anything here. This is a jotter that I used while I was applying for a scholarship. I list out the things that are important so that I would not have to miss something while applying for my own scholarship, and it really worked out for me. So the first thing is a proof that you cannot sponsor yourself. What is your story? What story do you have that you cannot sponsor yourself? What are you going to tell your sponsor that will convince them that they should sponsor you? It is the first and most important thing any prospective scholar should look out for, whether you're applying for a master's scholarship, an undergraduate scholarship, or even a PhD scholarship, because you're going to write a statement of purpose. The second thing is a copy of your identity or a passport. Where are you from? You need to be identified where you're from. So if you cannot identify where you're from, how then do we sponsor you? There are a lot of scholarships for people that are from Africa and Asia, because they are people from developing country, third world country. So there tend to be lots of scholarships for them. But if you do not have an identity, how then do we know that this is where you're from? I know there can be a lot of hassle when trying to get your passport from your individual countries that you come from, but if you're applying for scholarship, start now and ensure that your passport is ready. The third thing is your statement of purpose. Like I mentioned, you're going to write a statement of purpose, and statement of purpose differs depending on what you're applying for. A statement of purpose to an undergraduate is different from a statement of purpose for a master's scholarship or a master's admission. It is also different from somebody that is applying for a PhD. So how do you write a statement of purpose is actually another video I will make to detail how you can write a winning statement of purpose, because there are so many statements of purposes there. And when you are starting to apply for a scholarship, you might be tempted to go out there and copy a statement of purpose from someone else. And I will tell you, don't even think about it, because it will flag it immediately. Because there's a software that school uses to flag statements of purpose that are copied from online or other places. So a statement of purpose has already been submitted to the school. So if you copied it, it's automatically flagged that you don't have an original thought. So a statement of purpose is also another critical thing you need to have when applying for a scholarship. The fourth thing is your transcript. If you're applying for undergraduate scholarship, some school demands that you get a transcript from the high school that you attended. So they could just ask for the 3 years prior to your final year, but there are other schools that they don't really care. They just ask you to provide certain things that I'm going to mention still on this list, and you would be fine. But if you apply for a master's scholarship, you would be required, it is a necessity that you show your transcript of what you studied in your undergraduate before they can admit you to any school. Why do they do that? Because in master's program, you can decide to do a different course from what you study in your undergraduate. For example, I am currently studying big data and digital futures at the University of Warwick, but my undergraduate course was in civil engineering. Do you understand? So if I was studying medicine and I want to do public health, I have to show that there is no much discrepancy or disparity between what I was taught in my undergraduate and what I have now. So it is very, very important that you show your transcript. Individual schools have a way you can get transcript from them. All you need to do is carry yourself, go to your school and ask about your transcript. It is what you are entitled to. Your school fees that you paid while you were in school, you were entitled to get your transcript afterward. It's just like your certificate. You're supposed to have your transcript. But some schools have what is called student copy transcript and official copy transcript. Usually, they don't give out official copy transcript just like that because it is official. They send it to the organization or to the school that you intend to apply to when you request for it. But some schools give out what is called student copy transcript, and it is boldly written, not for official use student copy. However, there are some universities that understand that you cannot have access to your official transcript, so they will accept your student copy transcript for the purpose of admission. But if you are going to go with them, they would request for an official transcript. There are schools that doesn't request for, they're okay with the student copy, and there are schools that actually request for official copy. So it depending on the school that you're applying for. But transcript is a necessity if you're applying for a master's or you're applying for a PhD. But for undergraduate, it can be tossed around depending on where you're going to. So the next thing is recommendation letters. The do's in recommendation letter is don't ask your mentor, your father, your mother, anybody related to you to write a recommendation letter for you, except stated otherwise. If you belong to a religious organization, they will ask you for a recommendation letter for your pastor or a reverend father or your imam. They might request for it. But if it is for admission's sake, mostly preferable is a recommendation letter from your lecturers that taught you or from your teachers that taught you. So this is the time to call those lecturers, say hello to them, say hi to them, and start requesting for recommendation letter. While requesting for recommendation letter, it is important that you yourself know how to write a recommendation letter. Not because you need a recommendation letter, because tomorrow you are also going to write a recommendation letter for someone. But sometimes your lecturer might ask you, do you have a draft of a recommendation letter? Since maybe a lot of things have gone on with you for like 3, 4, 5 years, you haven't talked to the person, or he doesn't really know what is going on with you, and you might want to put that activity inside your recommendation letter. If you do not know how to write a recommendation letter, how do you present a draft? It is important that you yourself learn how to write a recommendation letter for yourself, and also to write a recommendation letter for someone tomorrow when they ask, so that you won't ask for a draft copy. All right. So the next thing on my list is an updated CV. Before I started my master's degree at the United Kingdom, I work in a very interesting place, and we put up a job advert, and someone came to apply for a job advert with a CV that was not updated. If you were the company, would you check up that person? That's exactly what some prospective students do. Submitting CV that are not updated. How do you do that? So every single day, there are format of CVs. If you apply to European countries, there's Europass CV. They have their own format of CV. If you apply to the United States, there's a format for their CV. United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, other countries, there are formats for CVs. So update your CV according to the standard of the country that you are intending to apply to. As a matter of fact, update your CV. That is what I am trying to say. The next thing on my list is, which is the number 7 thing, standardized test scores. It's really a hurdle. I must say, it's not easy to prepare for a standardized test, especially when you are tense or you have other things to do. Somebody might ask me, what is even standardized test? Standardized test, for example, mostly that we know is English proficiency test. but it doesn't stop by English proficiency test. There are other standardized tests. But if you are going to a place that they only speak English, like the United Kingdom, New Zealand, Canada, United States, English is their native language. If you are from a place from Africa whereby English is not your first language, thereby it is not your native language, you are expected to attest that you know how to speak English, can communicate in English, and understand English appropriately. How do you do that? They subject you to a test called IELTS or TOEFL. If you're applying to the United States, a request for a TOEFL, but they also accept IELTS. If you're applying to the United Kingdom, they accept IELTS, but they also accept TOEFL. But their primary is IELTS. So there are different, you just go online, type IELTS, and it will bring out different venues that you can write the IELTS and how to register for it. The information is very plenty online on TOEFL. Somebody might ask me which one is more difficult. I don't know which one is more difficult. I personally, I wrote IELTS because my school demanded that you must write IELTS before they give you an unconditional offer. So I had to write IELTS, and it was, we thank the Lord, it was great. And they gave me admission and I'm here. But what I'm trying to say is that standardized test score is actually one of the things they ask for. If you're applying for a PhD or a more technical course, they ask for GRE, Graduate Record Examination. If you're applying for undergraduate, they ask for SAT. It is in your position to actually look at what are the requirements for your scholarship board. What exactly are they requesting for, and try to meet up with what they are requesting for. The standardized tests are not free. You would have to pay for it, and they are not going to reimburse you. So it is in your position to make sure you prepare adequately for these exams, because it is strenuous preparing it for the first time. How about preparing it for the second time? You don't want to do that. Materials are available online. Resources are available in enormous online. You can find them. Look for them. Prepare for it adequately if it is a requirement, because so many people they are also fighting for this space of a scholarship. You have to do whatever it takes to ensure that you get one. Now, the number 8 thing on my list is research proposal and study plan. You know, for a scholarship, part of the essays you actually write is your study plan. What is your plan when you want to come and study? And there's some school that if you're applying for a master, they ask you for a research proposal. But research proposal is mostly for PhD applicants. So you would be required to write a research proposal. You go and read about research proposal and actually have to tell all that. The number 9 thing on my list is admission. You can have scholarship, but you don't have admission. Your scholarship will be revoked. I am a 2022 Commonwealth Shade Scholar. I know 2 people in my batch that got the scholarship, but because of one requirement or the other, they could not. They revoked the scholarship. So admission is unconditional. Admission is a criteria to winning and sustaining a scholarship, because you might get a scholarship but without an unconditional offer, the scholarship will be revoked from you. What would you do when that is done? So yeah, admission. Do whatever it takes to ensure you have an unconditional offer right at hand. It goes a long way to cut off some stress off your shoulder. And the last and most important thing is essays. Writing essay demands cognitive thinking, creativity, self-reflection, emotions. So many factors are put together to write a winning essay. And you must write an essay for every single scholarship out there that you're applying for. If you feel you're not so good in writing, start now. There's so many materials online, so many YouTube videos online that is helping people how to write. If it's very hard for you to write, start by writing how your day went. Scholarship boards are not requiring you to write plenty vocabularies. The only place they require vocabulary from you is when you are trying to be technical about the course that you're applying for, because every single course has their own nitty-gritty. They have vocabularies they use for themselves. If you're applying for a scholarship in big data and you don't mention data ranking, data scrubbing, what are you saying? Data visualization, dashboards. Those are vocabularies that are specific to me. What are you applying for? What course are you applying for? Ensure you put in the vocabularies that are necessary into your essay writing. But aside from that, use simple English that is clear and understandable, free of plagiarism. It should be original content thought. If it is not original, nobody, absolutely nobody, will listen to you. So yeah, it is a wrap. These are the 10 things I had on my list. These are the things that actually helped me prepare for a scholarship while I was applying and preparing. And I see it as a duty to ensure that I'm trying as much as possible to help other people also get this scholarship, because it is a life-changing opportunity. So yeah, this is what we have for you today. I trust you will have a great day. If you have any question, you can drop it on the comment box and I would be kind enough to answer all of them. Till I see you next time, stay blessed and have a great life.